Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. We're going to get started with the latest on the situation at the Rocky Creek Bridge slipout. We have our colleagues from Caltrans with us. Let's get started with Kevin Drabinski. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Thank you for your kind welcome, your hospitality, for giving us this opportunity to share our updates. I just want to start out by noting one change in our convoy schedule. Daily convoys run through the Rocky Creek slip out on Highway 1 at 7 a.m. and at 5 a.m. But in support of the Big Sur International Marathon, we will run the 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Saturday, but then we will move up the time of the Sunday morning convoy to 4 a.m. And that window is going to have a hard closure at 4:45. That is because northbound traffic will have to clear Carmel before they close up. So the entire highway will be closed between 5 a.m. and 1 p.m. for the race. So the Sunday morning convoy will run at 4 a.m. It'll last until 4:45, and then we're going to close it up, give a chance for all the vehicles to clear the course, and then it'll be closed for the run. So that's the convoy news. The other news is that we continue to advance on our repairs on stabilizing the edge of the roadway. The erosion point, I guess, I'm not the engineer, but the head scarp is what is, I'll describe in lay terms, is that missing piece of pavement under the roadway. That wants to, in its nature, head back and creep into the northbound lane. And so that edge stabilization work is really an attempt to stabilize the outside edge of the roadway so that the erosion beneath the roadway doesn't happen. To date, we've been able to install a series of vertical rock dowels. Those are 1.25 inch rebar that we've put in 25 feet below the roadway along the existing edge of the roadway. And then work has started that people have seen where we hang the crane. The crane hangs a basket of crew members that are out there, and they're putting the horizontal rock dowels through. Those are about 40 feet each. So they're drilled. They have the centralizers that keep them that 1.25 inch rebar in the center. Then at the bottom of that drill hole there, they are filled with grout. And then eventually, as we move section by section, we're able to like blast concrete onto 4x4 welded wire mesh and shotcrete the front of it that provides additional protection and strength to the slope. So we continue to make advances on that repair effort. We have an ability to keep when we do that shotcreting, to be able to still permit water and to permit draining, so we don't have water buildup behind that work. We're making good advances from in the field. We did have to stop work this last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because of the excessive winds. So as you can imagine, because of, there's real standards set for the safety of this work, which is already an adventure. But we have a 25-mile-an-hour wind limit. It looks like that wind limit may be exceeded later this week, and so we're keeping an eye on that. So we may have to, in response to that work, stand down on some of that particular basket work. Doesn't mean that other work can't continue on the site, but that particular effort has to stand down once the wind gets up above 25 miles an hour. I think I'm joined by Zeke Dellamas, my esteemed colleague. I'm not sure he has a camera today, but I asked him to give some field reports for us as well. Zeke?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, sorry I'm taking this call from the road, so I'm unable to turn my camera on today. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to provide a quick update from the field. As Kevin indicated, we're moving forward. You know, this is a very challenging site, as you can imagine. The photos really do tell the story. But to date, we're at about 29 or 30 of the 75 horizontal elements in the ground that Kevin was talking about. That's that drilled hole with steel in the hole. That's like a rebar. It's a steel rod that goes in, and that's at 40 feet. So we're doing pretty well on that front. We're at 29 or 30 in the ground. And the first layer of shotcrete over one of the zones was completed over the weekend, and everything is moving forward. So we're definitely increasing our confidence, not only in the repair strategy, but in hitting our stride and doing the work. And so that's a good feeling for us. You know, it takes a while to get up to speed and get things running. So with that said, as Kevin touched on, we are looking at a potential for some wind-related holds or issues coming up this week. We're working closely with National Weather Service to have a spot location forecast, and you know, not only looking at potential rain, but at this point the wind seems to be a more pressing factor. So watching closely there. Kevin hinted that there is still other work that can be done. Over the weekend there was some additional drilling that went in that works as like a reaction to the hanging drilling basket. They have to have something to bear against. You can kind of envision that, I'm sure. All in all, that's going quite well. We're happy with that. And simultaneous to the edge stabilization work is the installation of the temporary signal. And I just like to reiterate that we're putting in the temp signal, and the idea is as soon as the repair work is complete, we'll return the road to one-way reversing traffic with this temporary signal system. I believe yesterday we put in a number of the poles. A lot of the conduit is already in place. Some of it's overground, some of it runs across the Rocky Creek Bridge, and we're working with PG&E for a power drop and the rest of the controller cabinets and the backup generation system. That type of work is ongoing. So yeah, a lot of work happening out there, and I'd be remiss to not point out that we're also moving forward with the full restoration of the highway. So it's going to be a much longer process to get there, but we call that a permanent restoration of 2 full lanes. And to date, we've completed the survey of that, which allows our design teams to start developing the alignment and what we call like a preliminary bridge site submittal. We've had on-site meetings with our geotechnical teams, and we're bringing in a geotechnical sub to do a subsurface investigation. So it's really critical that we know what the conditions of the soil and the rock are below where these future supports are going to go. And tomorrow is another important meeting with the structures design team out of Sacramento, who will be leading the actual design effort of the structure. I think that about wraps up the current activities in the field, but if anybody has any questions, I'm sure Kevin and I will be able to address those.
While we're like laser focused on this repair and we're excited about the progress, we're almost as excited about celebrating Nepente's 75th anniversary today. So I haven't been going there only over the last 45 years, but a 75th is quite an accomplishment. We recognize that this roadway is an important artery for the economy of the community, and we look forward to the day we can advance the day to open it up to unrestricted travel. So congratulations, Nepente.
We can all say happy birthday and hope for the day we can go down and have a lovely lunch on the patio there. If there are any questions for our Caltrans colleagues, you can go ahead and put them in chat. One question that I did get from the public was they're hearing about the signal work being done and they're seeing all that movement. Does that mean things might be sped up, that the timeline for the stabilization and reopening to one lane reversing traffic could be happen more quickly?
We're holding to a May 27th estimate for the reopening. Part of that reason is we have experienced, we likely will experience delays in production due to wind. And then when you're drilling off of a crane held basket over the side of the roadway, it's challenging. We experience and we anticipated experiencing some breakdowns in equipment. Those are usually, repaired and we're getting back to production again. But it's a combination of technically, are we able to accomplish this? Is the equipment all working? Are we going to stand down for days because of wind? And so we're sticking with the May 27th, and understanding that any change in that is difficult to ascertain at this point just because of those variables.
Any other questions for Caltrans before we move on to our other presenters? Seeing no hands up, seeing nothing in chat. Thank you both for sharing this update. It's always really great to hear about progress on this. And now we've got our colleague Jessica Madueno from California Highway Patrol. Tell us a little bit more about the convoys and what is happening with that. Hi, Jessica.
Yes. Hi, Maya. And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. Yes, just a little bit to bring to you regarding the convoys. They continue at 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. However, just like Kevin stated from Caltrans, there will be a change on Sunday regarding the Big Sur Marathon and that event being here in the area, where that convoy will get moved to 4 a.m. in the morning. And like he said, hard closure 4:45, because those convoys do take some time to run all the way through the construction area. And just a few reminders that we want to bring to the public that happens to be traveling through this construction zone. Remember, all construction areas are double fine zones. We want to just bring out another reminder about having proof of residency and employees having some proof of that they work there regarding maybe an ID card and their driver's license. That way it can help the officers that are working the screening details in the convoys. And good numbers to bring regarding how many tourists we're turning around. Those numbers are dropping, about 20 to 25 that we're turning around. They're still trying to get down to Southern California. And as we get closer to the weekend, those numbers are increasing.
Thank you. And that's actually kind of good news. It sounds like the messaging is really working.
Yes.
And especially the messaging right there in the field with your officers, because that's a lot of people to work with, to check with them and try to still be encouraging and supportive, for everyone's needs, whether you have to turn them around or whether you're letting them go through.
Correct.
Thank you. Any questions for Jessica about the convoys? Did you happen to get a number, a car count for the convoys this week?
No card count this week. I apologize.
No problem. No hands raised, no questions. Thank you, Jessica, for filling us in on the convoy information. I'm not sure if we have Matt Harris from Big Sur Fire on. I'm not seeing him. So we'd like to then bring in Kirk Gafill from Big Sur Chamber of Commerce, and of course the birthday boy with the Nepenthe. But Kirk, I'm hoping you can give us an update on what is happening in the Big Sur zone right now.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Maya. Well, pretty much as it's been since March 30th, the community is still adapting and responding to the unique conditions of having such restricted access. And where that really has manifested itself probably most prominently are the impacts on employees and businesses. At this point, we've completed a recent survey through the Community Association of Big Sur that is estimating approximately 800 employees are either completely unemployed or severely underemployed as a result of the closure and the impacts on the business. So that is, of course, amplified as well by the loss of business for the business owners. But the totality of that is with each passing day, has a greater cumulative impact on the community. We're being very well supported by the Monterey County hospitality industry that's rapidly coming together to try to create a fundraising effort along with Community Foundation for Monterey County. So please keep an eye out for that. It's a very quick moving effort by some of the major hotels and restaurants to try to create assistance on the Monterey Peninsula side for a fundraiser that can benefit individuals who are economically at risk right now in our community because of the impacts. Beyond that, the convoy system is still working very well to provide basic relief of getting supplies into the community on a residential basis. And on a business basis, there's actually two very notable things. Not only do we get to celebrate our 75th and reopen today for, albeit our local resident population here at Nepenthe, but Post Ranch Inn is reopening today, bringing guests by helicopter. So they had the unique opportunity to create a very creative approach to provide some limited public access. And I think the import of that is not so much the numbers of guests coming in, which is quite nominal, but it's a real morale boost. And I think it's a real sign that recovery is imminent for all of us. And it's something that is allowing employers to put their employees, not all of them by a long shot, but many of their employees back to work. And during this next 4 to 5 weeks, that will be really critical because employees have been out of work now in many cases since March 30th. And the unemployment benefits are very important and helpful, but they only go so far. So I think that's the economic impact is still the big story for us, and we're just continuing to root for Caltrans and calm winds to be able to get the road reopened. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirk, very much. Calm winds. We're all going to chant that as well. Are there any questions for Kirk about what's happening in Big Sur or the business community? Seeing nothing in chat, seeing no hands raised. Thank you for taking the time to fill us in and keep us posted on what is happening in your beautiful, yet isolated, somewhat isolated. We can't wait to get back. Thank you all for that update. We're going to move on to our next topic. A long-awaited project which will bring easier access to mental health services in East Salinas is about to open, and it really is a project we're celebrating. A ribbon cutting for the Alisal Integrated Health Center will be Monday, April 29th, and all are welcome to attend an open house which will follow. We're very pleased to have Marni Sandoval here from our Behavioral Health Department to talk about the center and why it is so important. Hi, Marni.
Hi, Maya. Thank you for asking me to be here and share our exciting news. This project has been many, many years in the making, as you mentioned. I have a few slides that I might share, if that's all right.
Please do.
Can you see that okay?
Yes, we see it.
All right. I just wanted to give a little bit of background on the project real quick so that folks know what exactly is going on in this facility. It's been a massive endeavor, about 9 years in the making. The project team included members from our Department of Public Works, Facilities and Parks Department, as well as our Health Department and our Behavioral Health Bureau. So lots of people involved to make this happen. Want to just give you an idea of exactly where we are located in East Salinas at the corner of Sanborn Road and Circle Drive. This was the original rendering of the building from the architect's plans, and it's a 2-story facility. First floor has a small satellite clinic for our Alisal Family Health Center, so they'll be using this for overflow patient care. We have a large treatment and group room, a community space that'll be available to some of our county partners if they want to be able to check out and utilize the space evenings, weekends, for events that they may be holding here in the community, really wanting this space to be something that brings us into the community and making it accessible for everyone who lives here and needs supports. On the second floor is primarily occupied by our Behavioral Health Bureau, our children and adolescent system of care, so services that we're providing for children and youth up to age 25. Let me give you the kinds of services that we're providing in behavioral health specifically for our Medi-Cal beneficiaries here in Monterey County, as well as uninsured and undocumented individuals all have access to care in this facility. The behavioral health side of things, we're offering specialty mental health services. So that's for individuals who are really struggling with the most severe end of the spectrum of conditions in our child and youth population. We're available here to give information, do screenings, provide mental health assessments, as well as treatment to kids, youth, and families. The really exciting thing about this really fits in with the Alisal Vibrancy Plan to make sure that East Salinas really does expand access to culturally competent medical and mental health services for the population. And so again, we're very happy that we are finally ready to open the doors. This is just a nice architectural rendering of our large community room space on the first floor, available to, again, our community partners to be able to utilize. So wanted to just quickly walk you through a project timeline. We had groundbreaking in March of 2022, as you can see here, vacant lot. By September, we had a steel frame coming up and the building starting to be framed here. And then as of last month, we have a brand new building actually being occupied this week by our staff. We're all moving into the facility this week. And our goal is to be open for client services as of Tuesday next week. But very exciting, on Monday, the 29th, we'll be having our ribbon cutting and our first open house event at 1 p.m. So we invite everybody to come and join us. Again, we'll have the ribbon cutting. Many people that have been key in making this project happen will be here speaking briefly, and then we'll have the building open and giving tours open to everyone. And then we're also having a second open house event, our family day, on Saturday, so that we made sure that families where kids are in school or the parents might be working during the day still have access to an open house event. So Saturday we'll be having family day. Lots of our community partners will be here with tables and information about other resources. We're going to have fun activities for everybody. So please come out and join us at one or both of these events. And I'll share this flyer with you too, Maya.
Oh, that would be great. And if you could also share your all your slides with me,
Absolutely.
we can send them out to the partners. We did have a question as to whether you could present any of this information in Spanish.
I personally am not able to do that today, but I absolutely can. I have the flyer in Spanish, and then I do have staff that could provide the presentation in Spanish at a time that we could set up.
Okay, that's good. And I think that answers the question for the reporter who asked. So we'll connect you guys after.
Absolutely.
The briefing.
Yes.
So, and I did get a question from someone said it in before who couldn't attend. There was a discussion about why this is so valuable in terms of access, where placing this building, I mean, you really could have, I mean, there are so many places it could have gone, but it was really focused to put it right where it's going to be. And I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Yes, absolutely. We spent quite a bit of time over the years trying to understand where the core of our Medi-Cal beneficiaries are residing, really looking at our zip codes and the regions of the county where we have large clusters of Medi-Cal beneficiaries that are needing access to services, and then looking at where our facilities are located. And when we really saw the East Salinas region of our county, it was very clear that there were many people who needed access to services, and we did not have a behavioral health clinic in that zip code area of the county. And so we purposely embarked on an endeavor to figure out how to make that happen. And it was originally with a city-county land swap that happened almost 10 years ago that allowed us to start moving in this direction to having this building available with the doors open next week. So that was really our intention, to bring the care to where the people are who need it.
And also the care is very pointed in all the outreach that's been done. This is really for youth and families. This isn't just isolated to patients or some other people who might need assistance. Why the emphasis on youth and family?
There was a large amount of the information that we were looking at, that there were many families with young children who, again, were our Medi-Cal beneficiaries who were living in this zip code area, and we weren't present. We did not have a presence in the community. So to bring a family facility here will make it easier for families, for mothers of young children, even moms who are expecting and needing that prenatal support to be able to access care here. And the beauty of integrating with our clinic services is that families who live in this community will have the option of requesting this new facility to become their health home. So they could be able to come and see their physician for medical care here at the facility, as well as receive their behavioral health care all in the same facility. So it gives them that option if that's something that they want to be able to do.
It's just a wonderful project, and it's so great to see it finally come to fruition. I have no more questions, and I'm not seeing any other questions in chat. And I should have called you Dr. Sandoval will be sharing her slides afterwards. And I really appreciate you being able to take the time to talk about this project, and we look forward to the ribbon cutting and open house.
Yes, thank you. And please, yes, connect anyone who needs access to this information and or a presentation in Spanish with me, and we'll make sure that we make that happen.
Okay, we will do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Our next topic, our partners at the Monterey County Business Council are hosting another series of really helpful workshops for local businesses. These workshops are designed to support businesses right down to the topics and tailoring the best way to provide information. So we're very pleased to have Jose Luis Barajas from the Business Council here to talk about these workshops, the upcoming workshops. Hi, Jose.
Hi, good afternoon, Mia. Thank you for having us today. Again, my name is Jose Luis Barajas. I'm a program analyst for our Building Business Back program. Just very briefly on what our program does is we serve all businesses in Monterey County with an emphasis on those that operated in the unincorporated areas, as well as those that are owned by women, minorities, and the LGBTQ plus community. The primary purpose of our program is to help Monterey County businesses recover from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and thrive. So we serve as an information hub. You guys can visit our website, montereycountybusiness.com. It's available in English and in Spanish, and it's a centralized point for businesses and entrepreneurs in our area to access federal, state, local, and private resources to help them start their business. We host a number of free workshops, which I'll get into in just a short moment. And we also provide free technical assistance, whether it's applying for a grant, researching tax credits. We're here to help businesses and entrepreneurs navigate every step of the way and provide them the support that they need to be successful. So with that, we have a number of workshops that we're hosting in the month of May. They are in English and Spanish equivalents. So we recently were awarded a designation with Google. We're a Grow with Google High Impact Partner. So what that means is we've teamed up with Google to bring digital resources to small businesses in our community to help bridge that digital divide that was really exacerbated during the COVID-19 pandemic. You could really tell which businesses were ready to make that transition into a digital first business model, whereas businesses that weren't ready were affected a little bit more so. So with that, we have an upcoming workshop on cybersecurity in your small business. This is a very key and important topic with a lot of businesses being hacked lately, government entities being, not exempt from this as well. So just being mindful of that. How long could a business possibly be in operations if their POS system got hacked, if their Wi-Fi was out of service? Having those systems and checks in place is very key. Additionally, we've teamed up with the Blue Zones Project and the Monterey County Health Department to bring together a series of workshops on new permits on how to launch a food business from home. There's a new permit class called Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operations, better known as MICO. These new MICO permits allow people to essentially start what's effectively a small restaurant out of their home, in which people can purchase food out of their home for consumption offsite, or the business can deliver food to customers directly. Or the new component of this is that people can now consume food at these people's homes. So that's an incredible opportunity for entrepreneurs in our community, and it's available in both the unincorporated areas as well as the cities. So we're hosting a workshop in partnership with the Filipino American community of the Monterey Peninsula over in Marina on Thursday, May 9th, called Launch a Food Business from Home. We'll have an English session from 1 to 2 p.m. and a Spanish session from 2 to 3 p.m. We also have a completely Spanish session down in the city of Soledad on Wednesday, May 15th. And for that one, we will have interpretation available into English, Riqui, and Mixteco for our community down there. And lastly, we'll have the Cybersecurity in Your Small Business Workshop equivalent in Spanish on Wednesday, May 22nd from 12 to 1 p.m. And people can register for our workshops visiting our website, montereycountybusiness.com. Again, it's available in English and in Spanish. And I can also present this information in Spanish if needed.
Yes, please. We're hoping that you would. It's a great information. Such great workshops for our local businesses.
All right. Muchas gracias por la invitación el día de hoy. Me llamo José Luis Barajas, soy analista para el programa Building Business Back. Para informarles un poco más acerca de qué es el trabajo que imparte nuestro programa, Building Business Back es un programa del Condado de Monterrey, operado en colaboración con el Concilio Empresarial del Condado de Monterrey. Nuestro programa atiende a todos los negocios dentro del condado, con un énfasis particular en aquellos negocios que operan en las áreas no incorporadas del condado, tanto aquellos que son pertenecientes a las mujeres, minorías y a la comunidad LGBTQ+. Todos nuestros servicios son gratuitos porque el Condado de Monterrey ha dedicado fondos a apoyar a los negocios de nuestra comunidad a recuperarse de los efectos adversos de la pandemia y ser prósperos. Nuestro programa tiene tres funciones principales. La primera, cual es ser un punto centralizado de información de todas las cosas en relación a los negocios. Somos un punto centralizado para adquirir y acceder a información y a recursos federales, estatales, locales y privados para ayudar a emprendedores y a los negocios a ser exitosos. Impartimos una variedad de talleres acerca de diversos temas de interés tanto para emprendedores como comerciantes existentes. Y últimamente ofrecemos asistencia técnica en vivo a todo nuestro personal es bilingüe en inglés y en español. La asistencia técnica podría ser así, ayudándolos a asistir para aplicar a alguna beca, alguna subvención o posiblemente hasta algunos permisos. Y estamos aquí para apoyarles. Igual todos nuestros servicios, los cuales son completamente gratuitos. Para el mes de mayo tendremos una serie de talleres en inglés y en español. Somos socios con Google de alto impacto. Lo que hacemos con esa colaboración con Google es impartimos talleres en inglés y en español para atraer recursos digitales a nuestros negocios y reducir la brecha digital que existe, que fue exacerbada durante la pandemia. Fue muy evidente cuáles negocios estaban preparados para cambiar a un formato que principalmente se opere a base digital. Entonces estaremos impartiendo talleres acerca de la ciberseguridad y los pequeños negocios. Hay que tomar en cuenta los temas acerca si un negocio pudiera funcionar, si es que nuestro sistema de ventas no estuviera funcionando por X cantidad de días, si es que nuestro negocio pudiera funcionar sin internet inalámbrico, etcétera. Ese taller lo tenemos en español el 22 de mayo de 12 a 1 de la tarde. Y adicionalmente hemos colaborado con el Departamento de Salud del Condado y el Proyecto de Zonas Azules del Condado de Monterrey para impartirles una serie de talleres acerca de un nuevo permiso que viene del Estado acerca de cocinas domésticas, que se denomina MICO por sus siglas en inglés. Este nuevo permiso de MICO permite que la gente venda comida desde su hogar y permite tres actividades principales. La primera, la cual es que clientes recojan comida desde su casa, desde su domicilio, para consumo en otro sitio. La segunda actividad es que usted le entregue la comida directamente al cliente. Y la tercera actividad, lo cual es la parte nueva, es que el cliente puede consumir el producto ahí mismo en su hogar, lo cual efectivamente hace su hogar un pequeño restaurante. Entonces estaremos compartiendo esa información en dos talleres. Uno es el jueves 9 de mayo, de 2 a 3 de la tarde, será la sesión en español en la ciudad de Marina. Y tendremos otro taller en la ciudad de Soledad de 3 a 4 de la tarde, lo cual se impartirá completamente en español y habrá traducción disponible al inglés triqui y mixteco el miércoles 15 de mayo de 3 a 4 de la tarde. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for doing that 2 times. We really do appreciate it. One of the questions that I got in was about the evolution of the workshops. You've been with the council long enough to know that initially there were certain types of workshops that were offered. Now you're kind of it's really evolving into something else. Can you talk a little bit about why they're evolving and what is the most popular requests that some of your businesses have when they're looking for assistance?
Question. It is an evolving nature in the work. Building Business Back, part of our mission was recovering from the pandemic. The pandemic orders have been lifted as of like February last year, if I remember correctly. So a lot of the actual pandemic related relief has long expired. So the nature of our work has subsequently had to change as a result of these resources being lifted. So in that transition, we've noticed that a lot of the requests from local businesses are on the work we were already doing, but in a different ways ever so slowly. So there's still a huge demand for information, having a centralized point of how do I figure out how to start this type of business without having to call the city, the county, the state, and X, Y, or Z agency to figure it out. Having that one spot and our website being MontereyCountyBusiness.com, I think is key to helping provide that support. Additionally, digital services make it nowadays and age, we don't have yellow pages. So if you're looking for a service, you're looking for a product, you generally go on Google. So hence that partnership with Google, because odds are you're probably just going to go on Google. You don't really need a website even effectively because you can just have a Google business profile. So it's just been about adapting to the changing needs. And again, as there's needs, like for example, when there were the serial ADA lawsuits being filed in Salinas, we teamed up with JRG Attorneys at Law to provide a workshop for business owners on how to safeguard their business. So as there's different needs arise, we're willing to provide that information to the public.
Thank you. And then we've also noticed that the offerings in the workshops have gone from English with Spanish interpretation to Spanish only with English interpretation, and now bringing in other languages that people speak and that they may have businesses that they may need this information. Is that also part of the evolution where more businesses are realizing that you guys are really a resource for them?
Yes, absolutely. So it's been part of an increase in demand for services and information and language that people are more receptive to. We found that to be key, particularly in pandemic-related support, was particularly for our Spanish-speaking business owners. Providing that information in Spanish is key, from having the entire document translated and interpreted to being able to provide that one-on-one assistance in Spanish. I think was very key. And yes, we have teamed up with other organizations to bring these other languages also into the fold. And we also have partnerships, like mentioned, with the Filipino community. We have partnerships with the Central Coast Korean Association. So we do make an intentional effort because we are aware that we are a very diverse community, and hence the need to provide services in these many languages.
Thank you very much for that information. And I have no more questions here, and I'm seeing no more questions in chat. Jose, thank you so much for coming in to share about these terrific workshops. And we look forward to having you guys back to talk about more of some of the things that are happening with you over there.
Thank you.
All right, now our last topic, and we're very pleased to have Mindy Esqueda from the Department of Emergency Management, the Pajaro Assistance Center, which we have been talking about for the last month. It opened nearly a month ago. It is going to close this coming Saturday. This hub offered locals who were impacted by last year's flooding a place to apply for additional state aid. We've got an update now from Mindy on the number of applications and the aid that is going out. Hi, Mindy. Thanks very much for coming today.
Hi, thank you for having on Maya. I will go ahead and share my screen. So this is kind of the update as of today. So again, the unmet needs program that we've had. The site is going to close. So this Saturday, the 27th, marks the last day. It's been open for a month. And so these are the hours listed on the screen for this week. It's been the same schedule, but we just wanted to remind everyone we will be there every day until Saturday. And that is the last day to apply for the assistance and also take in any documentation that may be missing. So as a reminder, we will need to receive that documentation. If you received a call from the county letting you know that there's things that are missing, you have until Saturday, then we can receive that. terms of some updates for you, so on the household application side, over 600 now have been completed, meaning that they've been reviewed and completed. As of right now, close to 500 have already been eligible for the Phase 1 assistance, which was the food assistance in the terms of a grocery gift card. So on the week of April 15th, around $175,000 has been distributed in that Phase 1 assistance during the week of the 15th. So Community Bridges is coordinating that Phase 1 assistance piece. And so all the qualifying applicants were contacted by Community Bridges to come in and receive that assistance. And right now, currently, we've got about 250 already that are eligible for Phase 2 assistance. And that refers to more of the damages that people may have received with their home or with their car or personal property. So that's where it is as of right now. So we just wanted to let everyone know, to remind them to, again, to come in before Saturday. And I can go ahead and share that in Spanish if there's no other questions at this time in English.
Please go ahead and share in Spanish.
Okay, will do. Oh, sorry. Let's clean this up. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about that, Maya.
Take your time.
So I have too many tabs open today. Okay. Okay, here we go. Thank you for the patience. Okay. So again, ahora le voy a presentar en español. Gracias por estar con nosotros hoy. La razón por la información hoy es para recordarles que el sábado es el último día del programa de necesidades no cubiertas de pájaro. Ese es el programa que hemos estado corriendo durante este mes para ayudar a la gente, los residentes de pájaro que fueron afectados por las inundaciones del año pasado. Entonces, la razón es para recordarles que el sábado es el último día. Si todavía no han ido para aplicar para la asistencia, por favor, estamos recomendando a todos los residentes de Pájaro que fueron afectados que vayan ahí en el Parque de Pájaro. Ese es el horario que vamos a estar ahí todavía esta semana, pero le recordamos que el sábado es el último día. Si todavía no han aplicado, por favor, vayan a aplicar. También si les falta documentación y el condado les ha llamado para que vayan a proveer otro tipo de documentación, también el sábado es el último día para proveer esta información. Hasta la fecha podemos proveerles un poco de actualizaciones. Cuando se trata de las solicitudes del hogar, ya se han completado más de 600. Quiere decir que en todas las aplicaciones que hemos recibido, ya 600 les han revisado y están completados. De estos, ya 500 son elegibles para la asistencia de la fase 1, que es en forma como de una tarjeta para comprar comida. La organización Puentes de la Comunidad está trabajando en la fase 1 distribuyendo esta asistencia. Durante la semana del 15 de abril se distribuyeron $175,000 en asistencia. Entonces, Puentes de la Comunidad está llamando a todas las personas que calificaran y le están programando una cita para que vayan ahí al centro en el Parque de Pájaro para recibir su asistencia de la fase 1. Y hasta ahorita ya 200, 500 personas del hogar son elegibles para la asistencia de la fase 2, que todavía estamos trabajando para proveer. Esta parte va a ser, la agencia que está trabajando en eso es Católicas. Ellos le van a estar trabajando con las familias para proveerles la asistencia en la fase 2, que se trate de daños que recibieron los residentes en su hogar o su propiedad personal. Entonces, otra vez le recordamos, por favor, que vayan antes del sábado, este sábado el 27, para recibir asistencia. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Mindy. Sure appreciate it. On the phase two, people who become eligible for phase two, could you remind people what phase two is as part of this program?
Absolutely, Maya. Thank you. So phase two deals with any type of damage that was received from the floods. So for instance, every situation may be different. Every family may be different. Some were evacuated and had damage in their houses. Maybe they had to pay to remove the mud, or they had damage to, the baseboards, things like that. They lost their bed, their clothes, their car. A lot of people had damage to their car, or it was just completely destroyed from the floods. So those types of damages and costs are eligible then to receive that assistance. It could also be for housing. So if you were evacuated and you had to pay to rent somewhere else or put a deposit down, things like that that had to do with housing, that's also a qualifying assistance for phase two. So basically, when people apply and they go through the application process, with that one application, the case managers are asking at the intake to everything that they went through and any damages they've incurred, and they capture all of that information at the point of intake. And so automatically they go into phase one and then possibly into phase two if they had those damages. And so again, those costs and final determinations will be done through the case managers in the next phase of this assistance.
I also think it's important when you look at these numbers to think that a lot of people who did apply are eligible. Not only were they eligible for phase one, but they are already eligible for phase two. So if there are people who still may be hesitant after all this time, thinking that they just aren't going to qualify, what is your advice to them?
That we're just encouraging everyone to go apply. Basically, the only requiring component of this is that you were a resident living in Pajaro during the floods of March of 2023. So in terms of once we establish that by, let's say, proof of residency in terms of a bill from last March, or a bank statement, anything that shows the name and the address from March, and then from that we can go ahead and the case manager will be working with each family to determine how we can help them, because we know that there was a lot of damages suffered at different levels, and that's exactly what this program is for. Every single penny of this program has to be spent in Pajaro for the residents who are affected.
And then for the phase two, that's a little bit more arduous documentation than it is for phase one. For people who really have needs, then they did lose a lot in phase two. What are the types of documentation in general that they should be prepared to bring?
Yeah, like what we basically at the informational sessions that we did in the outreach, what we were letting them know is, when you think back to that time in March of last year and the evacuations, think of what you went through for each family. What were your effects from that? Were you evacuated? What did you lose? What damages did you maybe have to pay to fix, or things that you lost? And so when making that list of what your picture looks like, and then from that, then looking for a document that could back that up. So for instance, if I'm going to claim that I had to pay for damage under my house for the mud and I had to pay for some to clean it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for that invoice, to show that, to back up that I paid X amount of dollars to have my home fixed. My car, if it was determined that it was, totaled or whatever, how did I receive that information? Any bank statements of charges that you may have had to sustain during that time, rental, back rent, or other rental for another property, same thing, a receipt of that. So basically, whatever picture that people are telling us that they went through, just provide us, or we'll work with you to provide some type of backup documentation. And again, that's just to avoid that there are no people receiving the benefits that weren't directly affected last year in Pajaro.
And there's also a business component to this aid program. And I know it's being overseen by the workforce development, but I'm hoping you can talk a little bit more about, encouraging those businesses to not let this opportunity go by, to take advantage of not only assistance with their losses, but there's a second component which will allow them to really enhance what they already have.
Exactly, yeah. So the business component is much more extensive, but there's also a beautification piece. There's a lot to encourage, not only, like you said, not only to reimburse costs that they may have had to incur, but also going forward in the terms of just business beautification in general, because that is part of the goal, is to improve Pajaro business and residents alike. So again, the businesses, there is a lot more documentation that is needed, for that part of the program, which is why the numbers are a little slightly lower. So on the business side, I believe right now about 45 have been completed. But in talking to our partners there in Monterey Works at the site, they're letting us know that that's just the number that have been completed. But they're working with a lot of the other businesses. During the process of it. So there is a lot more documentation that's needed on the business side. So a lot of them are already in process. We also expect to be this last week, a lot of them coming back to provide all of that documentation that they may have been missing. So again, we encourage just anyone who was affected, business or residents otherwise, to apply. And we only have a couple of days left, and that is the end of the program. So that's the window. The whole purpose is just to help people who were affected. So yeah, please go apply. There's no immigration status, legal status. Does not apply. We're not asking that. This is simply to help anyone, Pajaro residents who were affected. So, and the help is there. We just need everybody to come and apply. So.
Thank you, Mindy. Sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone for joining us in the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week, and we'll see you then.